Okay, hello world. Coming at you here on Wednesday, the 9th of the 11th month, 2016. Just to give you a very quick few thoughts about the election results yesterday. Yeah. Um, and then I'll get on and do a full spirit talk tomorrow night at about 10 is my plan here. So I realized I was sitting here thinking about all of this here a few moments ago, and I realized what is happening is a healing crisis. And, you know, when you counsel people and when you work with people one on one, which I get to do, then you get to see these stages of crisis, and I've gone through my own, and they all crisis comes and goes. It's a part of being human. It's a part of life on planet Earth, and so we're in the middle of one right now, and crisis, Lazarus, my teacher, has described crisis very well. It's basically being overwhelmed and feeling that you don't have time, space, or resources to integrate or process what's happening emotionally. And yeah, feeling under threat, under attack, even a sense of existential dread, like your life is suddenly over, like the life you expected and counted on and felt safe in and happy and secure, suddenly the rug is pulled out from under you. And I think a lot of people are feeling all of that today. And I've certainly been feeling my own version of all of that. Um, yeah, I listened to David Icke. He put a 10-minute video out today called America's Primal Scream, which I thought was a very witty and appropriate title for all of this. And so that's on my Facebook page there. You can find that. And I also listened to Marianne Williamson do a beautiful little talk and do a prayer about everything today. And I'm working on my ebook, my book here today, the invitation, and I came across a prayer that I'd channeled, and so I put that on my page and did a little rewriting on that, and it's called This Cosmic Moment. And I've got some pictures of um, this cosmic moment, including the Imagine Memorial to John Lennon, which is in Central Park, with a peace symbol of flowers around it, and decided to use that for my cover photo there on the page. Um, and so, what I want to say is, of course, no thinking person expected this to happen, except for Michael Moore and Cenk Uygur, evidently. Um, but it would have been honestly my the it was a catastrophe no matter what happened. Um, and so we have this version of the catastrophe. This is the crisis we've all chosen to go through and to work through and to live with at the moment. And then praying about this, meditating about this, thinking about this, listening to others, looking at the information, suddenly there's a big walkout of students, high school students in California and in Arizona that Fox News is reporting on, and it's like, well, look at that, and then they're shouting and chanting, with placards and the whole thing, etc. Yeah, pussy grabs back. Like, whoa, that's pretty radical. That's pretty assertive on the part of the women there. Good for them. That's brilliant. I didn't grow up in that culture. That's a different world than the one I grew up in. So um, my point is that there will definitely be a huge rising tide immediately of everyone that feels that their voice or their power has been taken from them, and chaos precedes change, and crisis is often how we create and work with chaos. So there's negative chaos, which is uh, upset and shock and terror and all of that. Obviously, anger, rage, fear, blame. All of that is negative chaos, and then there's positive chaos, which is hope, faith, compassion, learning something, understanding something, recognizing something, realizing something. So my prayer here for all of us is, to understand that this is definitely one of the chapters of the old world ending, and somewhere deep inside of us, we're all ready for the new world to begin. So, as we've talked about in many spirit talks, yeah, me and my guides, um, you're the visionaries, you're the way showers, we're the ones we've been waiting for, as the saying goes. Be the change you want to see in the world. So, when there's all this, I was thinking of there's that great line in Star Wars, in one of the Star Wars films, which I've loved, like everyone has, where they say, there's a disturbance in the force. And you could absolutely feel that today throughout the planet energetically. Um, you know, uh, 9/11, 2001, 11/9, 2016, um, there's a bit of shock and awe happening. So in all this, panic, fear, frustration, gloom and doom, end of the world, the rise of fascism, blah blah blah, whatever we want to terrorize ourselves with, and worry about. And there are things to be worried about. Don't take this wrong. Be my guest. More than just worry about all of this. Let's do something, right? And so in the energy of what is there, we can be the calm in the storm. Yeah, we can be the center of the hurricane, and we can take this energy, you see, that is just bouncing all over the planet. Um, Fear of the unknown, I mean, what the game has been all along, everyone, as well, is divide and conquer. Blacks against whites, rich against poor, racism, sexism, classism, religious wars, anything and everything that can be done to keep us afraid of each other and keep us, on the back foot, as they say, struggling to survive, worried for ourselves, our families, and our future. Okay, so I think we all recognize that um, Bernie would have been a great president, and he would have beaten Donald Trump by 20 points. Jill Stein took his place in my mind and my heart for a brilliant analysis of what needs to happen on the planet, and the courage and integrity, and the wits and the intelligence and the good humor, and the faith to take all that on and try to give a voice to the future of our planet. And I say again, all the scandals, the health problems, the body count, the conspiracies. The Clintons were a criminal conspiracy and an utter catastrophe. Uh, there's no way that there's no way that that wouldn't have been a disaster as well. But now we have this one, which is you know this disaster. And so, this is the return of Pluto for the Earth, for the U.S. Astrological chart. And so everything that's been hidden must be revealed. And I've talked about it before, and just to say again, this is the confronting of denial. So what I want to say is that when we've been in denial, individually, nationally, globally, it's a very tricky process. Yeah, delicate is a good word. Process. When I'm sitting with people, facing my own denial, looking at my own shadow, or when I'm sitting with a client, working on something, doing a reading, doing a channeling, etc. Everyone has denial. Everyone has things we don't want to look at, don't want to admit, don't want to forgive, don't want to accept, etc., etc. And that's what all this is forcing us to deal with. So Donald Trump, is now playing this role, as I learned from Robert Bly, the poet. He's the bad king. And, people say, well, let's see what he does. And, maybe he'll surprise us. My friends, don't even, say your prayers, absolutely, and wish for the best. But that's not why he's there. He's not there to be a good guy. If that's cynical, then there you go. But, you know, he's he's a bad joke, and so we have to rise to this challenge. And me and my guides have also talked about spiritual leadership, and I've talked about Lazarus and the four crises, and the crisis of dignity. And if I were black in America, or if I were a woman in America, or if I were Native American in America, or Hispanic, or a 20-year-old, I would think that I was in for the fight of my life. And because I'm 59 and living in Ireland, I feel exactly the same, everyone. There is nothing about the future of this planet, living, in a sane world, in an environmentally balanced world, in an economically just world, in a free world, in a fair world. There's nothing that I can see that is going to come from Donald Trump that's going to benefit me or future generations. So we really now have to become the rainbow warriors. Yeah, the way of the peaceful warrior, warriors of love. Yeah, and just like our beautiful brothers and sisters there in North Dakota, and all the indigenous people who've come from all over the world now. There's thousands of people from hundreds of different tribes, practicing nonviolence, prayer, doing sweat lodges, doing ritual, doing meditation. This is kind of the spiritual heart of the planet right now. And it is, divine timing that these beautiful people are selflessly and heroically striving to be respected for their culture, their rights, their land, their water, future generations, all of that. These are the human values and the earth values and the spiritual values that we really need to absolutely commit to and stand up for. So none of that, as you saw in the election there, Standing Rock never got mentioned, climate change never got mentioned, nothing that 90% single-payer healthcare never got mentioned, as far as I know. I couldn't ever look at the debates. I don't even listen to either one of these people if I can avoid it, because I just find it an utter waste of time and an insult to what I like to call my intelligence. So again, this has happened. These healing crises, planet-wide healing crises have happened many times. And, we're being given the opportunity, um, forced to choose beyond elections, what my guides say are the three questions. Yeah. What do I believe? How deeply do I believe it? And is this my truth right now? And, I was chatting with my buddy James tonight, and he says how he's very conscious, gifted healer with his prayers. And he says, how do I know what the truth is? He's just asking rhetorically. And, in my work with spirit, the truth is my connection to the deepest part of myself. And so, that deepest part of myself to me is definitely about oneness, about our sacred oneness. And I started to say this when, it's what's Dr. King's great quote, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And what diminishes anyone diminishes everyone. And so, this whole, I mean, this is like, this is like the shadow of humanity. Um, Looking at the shadow of humanity full in the face one more time and saying, humanity, America, the world, have you found the will to face this and to heal this? Or will you still keep pretending that this is about people, places, things, and situations, and not about our spiritual, our individual and collective spiritual values, and the way we live our spiritual values? So I absolutely understand that there's, and I can sympathize. There's huge rage against all the injustice that the white middle class, for want of a better term, has endured, one humiliation and defeat after another over the last 30 or 40 years. But this is not going to solve that. Trump's already picking his corporate lobbyists to determine his cabinet, and this is going to be Hillary Clinton on steroids. Honestly, is my take on it. This is not a guy who has a conscience or believes anything he says. He's lied, and stolen from people and broken promises his entire life. This is why he is so unbelievably arrogant and separate from the rest of the world. So, agree, disagree, be my guest. I don't, it doesn't matter to me. You have every right. But this is like Macbeth. This is a mad and bad king who has taken the throne. And of course, the presidency is not the most powerful job in the world. Whoever decides who's going to be the president, presidents don't get elected, they get selected. That was a quote from FDR, I believe. And it's very true. And there's this other quote, the presidents are not about, who's in power. They're about distracting us, basically. That's all this has been, as Russell Brand said, a Punch and Judy show. It's a big distraction from the agenda that really does, day in, day out, keep the agenda of disempowerment moving forward. So, as the saying goes, the good news in a healing crisis is it must be responded to. Yeah. The thing about a crisis is it doesn't go away without change. And so these students that are walking out of classes, and which is, I think, is great, fantastic. Pussy grabs back, fantastic. Power to the people is my motto. The people that are talking about California seceding from the Union, I mean, we're just getting started, folks. This is day one. And, Van Jones is someone I really respect and admire. he had some great things to say. He says, how do I tell my kids that not to be bullies when we've just elected a bully as president? How do I tell my kids to work hard and be prepared when this con man is just, taken the throne? I say again, yeah. Well, you know, our values and our belief in our values and our belief in each other, our dignity, our character, our vitality, and our vision, that is absolutely going to have to rise to the surface. Uh, you know, it's a game, yeah, and we've been played, and this is the same game that has been going on for a long time. And so, if we want a planet that works and a country that works, and if America wants to, be the city on the hill, the light of freedom and hope for the world, then, America and the rest of the world are going to have to really rise to this challenge. And it is a steep challenge. But, you know, Bernie got 13 million votes, and there were 2 or 3 million of them that I think got lost in California. And of course, if those had been counted, he would have won the California primary, and he would have gone into the convention and won the nomination. I heard somebody say one of the emails seemed to suggest that the Clintons had something to blackmail Bernie with. That's the first explanation of that makes any sense to my mind. But again, Bernie's a man. None of us are perfect, right? We have to do our best. But community, cooperation, working together, this is really going to have to, move us all to a new level of commitment and a new level of faith, and a new level of working together. So I'm not going to, I don't think I'm going to do a channeling tonight. I don't think I'll do a prayer. Yeah, but I wanted to just get on and say a little bit here and tell you that my teacher Lazarus, who's been the most enlightened guide that I've known, they said we'll help you here. We'll end the suspense. Humanity not only survives, humanity triumphs. And what triumph is in Lazarus's teachings is it is the ascendancy of character. So I was speaking about truth and what do I believe? How deeply is it true for me now? Um, we know when we're aligned to the truth because it respects ourselves and it respects our relationships. And it's a great challenge. We all have struggles and fears, yeah, doubts and worries. But my prayer is that we will find that, I know that we will find that willingness to create enlightened spiritual community. And, absolutely God bless the youth of America and the youth of the world, because, this is their planet and this is their time, just like it's our time. And we cannot be intimidated or lied to. I said before, I'll say again, to the degree that we've learned not to lie to ourselves, that's the degree that we can hear when others are lying to us. And Trump is a liar, and so is Hillary Clinton, and so are the people that work for them and with them. And that's what all the emails have demonstrated beyond a shadow of a doubt. The media, the politicians, the corporations, they're all for themselves. And they're all to get as much and to feel as special as they possibly can. And I say again, this is the mad king of human nature. So how we take the mad king on is by just again, like our friends in Standing Rock, being the change we want to see in the world, and letting God's source spirit, use us. That was my prayer there on my page. Let Spirit use us for its divine purpose, to make this a good thing. To, that's a great way to bring this full circle. When people get when we create a crisis, you see, people that grow through the crisis see it as an opportunity. And you all know this, and you've learned this in your own life, that the biggest challenge is the greatest gift in disguise. And so, again, Spirit believes we're ready for this next step in our own empowerment. And we must do our part individually. I sound a little preachy here, and we have to do what we can do with and for each other. So, just when a crisis is a gift, the people that got cancer or got a divorce or were in a car accident or whatever it might be, they find the character. We find the character in ourselves, the nobility, the courage, the humility, the vulnerability, the faith, the willingness to be God's instrument, for good to come into this experience. And I believe that is America's destiny. Absolutely. And I believe that's our destiny as a planet. And that's what my teacher's been telling me for 30 years. And they've been true all along. So find your faith, your hope, your courage, your passion, which is your purpose. And don't add to the drama, my friends, your own or anyone else's. And keep, clearing out, cleaning out, healing, the struggles, the doubts, the worries, the fears, the judgments, the media, and these, bar brawls that pass for political discourse, they keep trying to get us angry. They keep trying to get us to pick sides. They keep trying to, find who's wrong and who we can blame. And then we get to feel self-righteous. And we get to pretend that we understand everything and we know everything. It'll never happen, We don't need to understand or know everything. We just need to know what we believe, how deeply we believe it, and that it's our truth in this moment right here and now. Okay? So all will be well. Everything always works out for me, as Abraham says, and for all that I care about and love. Yeah? Let your heart break. Yeah? It's a shocking time. Grief is a part of the journey of any healing crisis, the death of an illusion, the death of an old way of being. But there is, I hate to sound cliche, there's an opportunity here. And we're going to rise to this occasion, and we're going to turn it into something that we're all proud of. So that's my 2 cents with you for tonight. You can go to my website, LouMartin.eu, or my Facebook page, or Awakened Spirits Network. And you're all in my thoughts and prayers. And I'll have more to say and do with you, I think, here tomorrow night. Okay? My love to you all. Be well. Peace and blessings. Namaste.